So the second thing you have to know about 0 is, for example, let n equals to minus 7. If n is equals to minus 7, in this case we are talking of for n equals to negative numbers. So we say let n equals to minus 7. This implies that 0 to the power of minus 7 will give us what? If we write 0 to a power of negative number, what exactly what is the answer? So many will think that whenever you raise a 0 to any power of any number, the result is equals to 0. It is not true. So in this case, you have to apply the law of indices or exponent. So this is the same as 1 over 0 raised to power 0 raised to power 7. We have said that the first thing we do, this is the second thing you have to know about 0. The first thing we did was for the positive, when 0 raised to power positive number, you have what? The result is equals to. So the result is equals to, we didn't do that, it's equals to 0. So it's equals to what? 0. 1 over 0. The first thing we did, this is supposed to be the third one, sorry. It's supposed to be the third because the first we did was 0 raised to power 0. We say that is 1. The second we did was 0 raised to power positive number. We say that is equals to 0. Is it not the second thing we did? Even fraction, positive fraction, we say the result is equals to 0. So the third one now is when 0 is raised to a power of negative number. We have what? We have to apply indices. We have 1 over 0 raised to power 7. And 0 raised to power any number is equals to 0. Apart from 1. Any number, but that number must be positive number. So in this case, we have 1 over 0. So 1 over 0 is equals to what? If you have followed my lesson, the first lesson we did, we said that when 1 is divided by 0, or when a number is divided by 0, what is the answer? So you will see that when you punch your calculator, it will tell you there is no available space. The space to occupy what you will get is too much, so it cannot be calculated. Tending to infinity, a large number, it cannot be determined. It is undefined, so the result is equals to indeterminate. So when a 0 is raised to a power of a negative number, the result is what? Indeterminate. If you haven't known this, know it today, because you already think that whenever you you give a 0 a power, the result will give you 0. No, you have to verify, meaning when the power is negative number. So 0 to the power of minus 2 over 5 is the same as 1 over 0 to the power of 2 over 5, and this gives us 1 over 0. So this also gives us what? Indeterminate value, the secret of the power of 0. So that is it. When 0 is raised to a power of negative whole number or integer number or any number, the result is indeterminate. Any negative number, the result is what? Indeterminate. So you can, when a 0 is raised to the power of negative number, the result is what? The result is indeterminate. So that is it. So when a 0 is raised to the power of negative number, the result is what? Indeterminate. Having learned about 0, let's look at number 1, because we are treating power. So let's look at number 1. That is the power of 1. So 1. So in this case, let n be equals to 0, and that this implies that 1 raised to power n is equals to 1 raised to power 0. So what is your answer? 1 to the power of 0 will give us 1. So that is the secret. So for example, if here is also minus 0, 1 to the power of minus 0 will give us 1. It will give us 1 because 1 to the power of minus 0 is the same as 1 divided by 1 raised to power 0 by indices, and this will give us 1 over 1, and that gives us 1 for negative. So whichever one, you will arrive at 1. So this is one of the secret of powers of 1. So 1 to the power of 0, because these are the things we are treating, 1 to the power of 0 will give us what? 1. So let n equals to 8. If n is equals to 8, 1 raised to power n is equals to 1 raised to power 8. 1 to the power of 8 is equals to what? So what do you have? 1 to the power of 8 will give us, will have what? Will give us 1. So in this case, this is because, in this case, this particular one, this is because when a number or a variable is raised to a power of 0, positive or negative 0, the result is 1. That is the secret. When a number is raised to a power of 0, negative or positive 0, whether negative or positive 0, the result will give us what? The result is equals to 1. The result is equals to what? 1. The result is 1. So that's what happened here. That is what happened here. So the second one is, the second example here is, this is because when 1 is raised to the power of number or variable, the result is 1. So here, when 1 is raised to a power of number, raised to a power of number or variable, the result, this is result. Result is 1. So you can read it again. When a 1 is raised to a power of number or variable, the result is equals to 1. That is what happened here. So you can say let n equals to minus 6. So 1 raised to the power n is equals to 1 raised to the power minus 6. By indices, you have 1 over 1 raised to the power 6. 1 raised to the power what? 6. And this will give us 1 over 1. And we know that 1 over 1 is equals to 1. 1 over 1 will give us what? 1. So 1 raised to the power minus 6, as 6 is a number, is equals to 1 over 1 raised to the power 6. As we have done it, 1 raised to the power 8 is 1. So 1 raised to the power 6 is 1. So 1 divided by 1 is 1. So that is it. For what? For 1. Things we have to know. Now let's look at minus 1. So I can clean here. So for minus 1, we do the same and see what will we get. So in this case, let here be minus 1. So we can say let n be equals to 0. This implies that we put in bracket for simplicity minus 1 raised to the power n. We say that n is 0 is the same as minus 1 raised to the power 0. So what will be the answer when you raise minus 1 to 0 to the power of 0? So what will you get? The result is equals to 1. So let n equals to 12. We are doing this. This is true for when n is positive number, when n is equals to positive number. If we choose n to be positive number, n to be positive number. So in this case, we have minus 1 raised to the power 12. Minus 1 raised to the power what? 12. If you do this one, you have what? This will give us what? This will give us 1. See the secret? When minus 1 is raised to the power 0, the result is equals to 1. And we have already said something about this, about raising a number or variable to the power of 0. This is because when a number or variable is raised to a power of 0, positive or negative 0, the result is 1. So that is why the result here is 1. And then the next one, I say let n equals to 12. For n positive, in this case, minus 1 raised to the power 12 will give us 1 or plus 1. This is because for positive value of n, the result is 1. So this is because for positive value of 1, sorry, because for positive value of n, the result is 1. So for positive value of n, rising minus 1 to a power, if its n is positive, the result will be equals to 1 or plus 1. So that is the reason when minus 1 is raised to a power of positive number, the result is equals to what? The result is equals to 1. So let n equals to minus 7 for n equals to negative number. Let n equals to minus 7 for n equals to negative number. This means minus 1 raised to the power minus 7 this will give us what? By indices, this will give us 1 over minus 1 raised to power 7. The result is equals to minus 1. This is indifferent because for negative value of n, the result is negative 1. The result is what? Is negative 1 or minus 1. So notice that this rule only apply for what? For negative 1 minus 1, not plus 1. For plus 1, negative or positive. For plus 1, if we when we did plus 1, negative or positive, any number, right, power, the result is 1. But for minus 1, the positive power will give us plus 1. The even number, not positive. If you say positive, you made a mistake, sorry. For n equals to positive even number. For n equals to what? Even number. For n equals to positive or negative even number. I hope you see it. For n positive or negative even number, the result will give us 1. For n negative or positive odd number, the result will give us minus 1. So when the power of minus 1 is or even number, whether negative or positive, we get 1. But when it is odd number, whether negative or positive, we get what? Minus 1. So let's try another example. So we can say let n equals to minus 6. So minus 1 to the power of minus 6 is equals to 1 over minus 1 raised to power 6 by indices. This is even number, so we get 1 over 1, and then that will give us 1. That is what the statement is all about. For positive or negative even number, the result will give us 1. So I say let n equals to minus 6. So minus 1 raised to power minus 6 is the same as 1 over minus 1 raised to power 6. And we have 1 over 1. And finally we get 1. So when n is odd number and raised to the power of when minus 1 is raised to the power of odd number, the result will give us negative 1 or minus 1. So let's see. In this case, let n equals to 11. So minus 1 raised to power 11 will give us minus 1. That is it. In this case, we are treating power. We are not yet. We do rational or radical powers or radical root. Any root of what? 1, 0, and minus 1. In this case, we'll talk about radical exponent. That is in the form of what? Rational numbers or roots. So these are just whole numbers. This when n is a whole number. So in this case, let's say when n is, if n is equals to minus 27, in this case we have minus 1 raised to power minus 27, and this will give us 1 over minus 1 raised to power 27, and 27 is odd number. We have what? 1 over 1, 1 over minus 1, because we say that when it is raised to the power of odd number, the result is equals to minus 1. So 1 over minus 1 will give us minus 1. So in this case, minus 1 raised to the power of negative 27 will give us what? Minus 1. So that is it. That is all you have to learn. If you have followed up to this extent, let's do this one for me. Do this. I want you to try it on your own to know if you understand how to solve problems involving powers of zeros, power of 0, 1 and the minus 1. Just a homework to follow up. So the first is 134 to the power of negative 0. The second is 1 raised to the power 2023 plus what? 1 raised to the power 0. And lastly is 1 to the power of minus 54 plus what? 1 divided by 1 to the power of minus 13, 1 to the power of minus 13. So this is one for me. Do this 3. Just 3. This will enable me know that actually my students, those that love what I do, appreciate and be able to understand the concept or the power, how to solve the problems involving powers of 0, 1 and minus 1. That is the secret. I have already given you the secret required for you to understand the concept of the powers of 0, 1 and minus 1. If you enjoyed this lesson, please click the subscription button. Go to our website www.manzananews.com/lesson-plan/ and then register or subscribe monthly in our website for you to enjoy all it takes to master mathematics in a short time. Do not hesitate to ask questions where you get problems. So before you go, share and like, click the notification button whenever we have new videos update. You'll be able to follow up. Subscribe to my channel for more videos for your view. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next class. Bye for now.